Episode 38 and Nicoletta Go. Oh la. Right, I'm really sorry for all of those people who have been following me day by day on these, and I haven't done one for 4 or 5 days, and I keep getting messages saying, are you ill, are you alive? Yes, I am. I'm really sorry. I've just been doing a load of talks to schools and stuff, and it's just it's been busy. It's been a busy few days, so I do apologise, but I'm here now. I have pimped my elbow. As you can see, I've got my bling back on. Happy with that. And as you can see, I thought of another plan. So I've got the bottom of the jigsaw box. I'm going to show you the jigsaw again, because it's probably got like out. Okay, see the other one. Can you see that? See where we're getting on? Yeah, so I've decided to have a little plan, because the amount of nagging I get about my jigsaw, and my brother-in-law from the Shires of Cambridge, I'm just cleansing. I'm going to cleanse the bandage, or whatever it is, the thingy, the sports injury thing. It's not a sports injury. I think it's a writing injury. Yeah, so my brother-in-law's threatened to come down, and so he said, I think it's a cocking farrago, something like that, he said. So I am aware that I've got a lot of pieces and I haven't got enough space. So what I'm going to do is, for all of you nuts out there who are getting really involved in the jigsaw side of things, which is the plan, but to keep you all calm and keep those OCD levels down to a nice, happy, stationary level, I'm going to start putting bits into here, right? And I thought that might be, I don't know, I thought that might please you all a little more. So yeah, and I've gone a bit wild today because it is so hot out today, even though the storms kept me awake most of the night. It's so hot out, I have gone completely braless because my body has swollen up like an Oompa Loompa. And I am so hot, I couldn't even, the thought of wedging my back fat into a bra was too much. So I didn't do it. So for this episode, I'm hanging loose, because later on we're doing some more stuff online with students, and I thought I'll have a shower, cool off, and do it for them. I will dress properly for them. But you've got a slightly rough and ready version of Due today. Right, some emails have come in. I haven't heard from the Commodore, so the same way that people have been messaging me saying, are you alright, it's going to work in reverse with him. I'm going to message him and say, you alright? Or he's just stopped listening and can't even handle it anymore, which is that. It's a good possibility. So I've got a couple of emails to read out, and I wanted to, at the end of the last one, I mentioned how much I was enthralled by the fact my friend Rory has joined, not only because he's Scottish and I can do a great Scottish accent, as I know that you all understand, but also that he was at college with us, and he was the year below us at college, and he has got such a soul that you just kind of, it's edible. It's an edible soul, if you know what I mean. He's just one of life's people that you just, I could just squidge your cheeks, and every time you think of them you go a bit all fuzzy inside. And the fact that he has tuned in to at least one, whether he even did more than one, I'll never know, but the fact that he subscribed is very pleasing to me, because it brings back a lot of lovely memories of being at college with him, and then actually when we went up to Scotland where I worked initially, nice memories of him there, catching up with him up there. So that was my Rory. So I hope you're still listening, Rory boy. Hope you are. Who else was I excited about? Yeah, I was going to tell you about my goldfish. So for a year we had a pond built, right? And I can't remember if I told you or not, but the idea was that Matt wanted this sort of tranquility pond, like just a really, like a low level bit of, can't spit, dug bit, all square and trendy, and just have water, just tranquil, like a little, I thought that might go a bit stagnant and minging, but that's all he wanted. But I absolutely have got a thing about fish. I always wanted to work in a wet fish market, all of that. I've always loved them. So I said, can we have fish? So it had to be dug like to almost the size of a man, because we read up about it, and if you have fish you've got to be to a certain level in case it's going to get cold and stuff. So a huge amount of groundworks. Then we ran out of money, then we found some tiles, we've tiled it a bit and tiled it, anyway. It's fine, I've got my fish in. Long story, getting the pump and all of that. Anyway, so we put it on the other day, and then so we went and got some fish, some little tiny baby goldfish, which are as sweet as. I should have been doing something probably more important, but I did whiz like this, but I did whiz off to the fish shop to buy. Also, the price of fish is so expensive now. So I bought the cheapest goldfish in there. They're about that. They look like tadpoles, actually, they're so tiny. But they were cheap. Anyway, so I went in, and one morning when I went out, the first day I had, I think 15. And then by the morning I had 13. And horrendously, where we've got a pump over there and a pipe there, on the other side, because there were stepping stones across, we had a pipe, and that takes the water from that side and drags it back to the pump, right? And the filter. But there wasn't an end on, so I put I put a recycling, you know, you can get the reusable bags for your fruit. They're like a little netting bag, very fine netting. So I tied one over those there so the fish couldn't go down it. Anyway, overnight, obviously one little fish went up to the pipe, got sucked in, even though the netting was over there. And so when I came out, the pond filter wasn't working and it was all very quiet. So I raced over to the filter, over to this pipe, and I pulled out this bag, and there was a bloody fish in a bag. It would be such, obviously, it was absolutely awful. So that accounted for one terrible thing, terrible situation. That accounted for one loss of life. And then another one was missing, and I saw another hole that Matt had done, which leads into the pump house. So I just lifted up the lid of that, and there was a fish lying on its side in sand, because Matt's buried this pump in sand, right? So here she is. Hi, babes. Hi. So it was in sand. So I left it. Oh no, I'm absolutely gutted. Really pretty little thing. And so I left it there for ages, right? Then I came back later, I thought I better deal with it. It was about 5 or 6 hours later. I thought I better just pick it up. I've just got to be brave and deal with it like an adult. So I went to pick it up, and it went. Its mouth went. So I picked the fish up out of the sand, and it went. And I held it in the water, and it started coughing sand out. It was like coughed sand out, and I tickled the fish a little bit more, and it coughed more out. Like, and its mouth's funny. It was, sand came out, and anyway, then it started to live. It'd been lying on its side. It was hours and hours, and so I released it back into the fish pond by releasing my hand, and it sort of sank to the bottom. So I picked it up again and dusted off a bit more sand, and then the others came around it and started going underneath the fish and making it move. Now it's completely fine. It's complete, and it was like a miracle fish. I wanted to call it Miracle. The kids said that was stupid. We'll call it Sandy, so it's called Sandy. We've got one called Philip Schofield because it's got a lovely long white tail, bit of white in its hair. Sandy, what's the other one? Colin. Yeah, we thought Colin had died, but it hasn't.
How do I print off the photos?
On my thing, I think you might have to copy and paste it and put it into an email.
Okay.
Right, put it into an email and then.
Okay.
Is that all right? Thanks, babe. Yeah. So yeah, Colin is still alive. Yes.
Don't forget to mention the little one that's on its own.
Oh yeah, and there's one little one. We bought it the first batch of 5 babies. 4 swam together, 1 on its own, all the time. And I've watched it. Even now they've got more fish in there. It's always on its own. Comes up for a bit, but it just sort of sits there. I can't stand it. I find it really hard. And then they were all racing around, and apparently they're getting all having sexy time. That was the first morning I went. I'd lost 2 fish, found one, released it, but the others were racing around like absolute nutty, pheromoned up lunatics. Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to have babies or not. I don't know, or they're just saucy in the heat. It's very adventurous having fish. Never think it isn't. Right. Okay. So one of my emails. Okay. So first one was from Claire from Beckenham. You know, nipple tassels, pearly nipple tassels, right? Okay, so she says, how are you and your arm and your wrist? I hope the very hot support is working. Get on the turmeric. Right, well, I noticed last time, Claire, that when I was doing this, because I didn't have anything on, didn't have any bling on, I came out quite spontaneously, just bowled out and did well, okay? But what I noticed was my hands, because this is really tight, my hands are swollen up like sausages, right? And this was all swollen, but I think it helps a bit because you can't feel your arm because it's so tight. Whether I die of blood clots now, I don't know, but it's still pretty bad, and the tablets the doctors put me on aren't actually working. So I think I've got to go back and, I don't know, he said I might have to have an x-ray. I don't know. I don't like all that stuff. I think it's all a waste of time. I don't want to be old. I'm not old, but I don't want to be like this because I don't like wasting energy on it. But thank you for that. I will get onto some more turmeric. I have tried some, but I don't think it is enough just to put it on your chicken at night, is it? Get those proper tablets. Right, she says, ha ha ha, bloody capoeira, because I was talking about capoeira last time, when the BBC ident is all these people doing that, and I can't do the legs for many reasons because I'll wipe out the jigsaw. But we did so many events with capoeira, and she said, bizarrely, she's remembered how to spell the word now. When every job I did involved some worthy capoeira performers, I always had to check the spelling for writing out running orders. I am delighted, she says, that I've retained in that old grey matter and forgotten so many other useful things. Exactly. So you really, you don't need to know what capoeira is or spell it, but you do need to remember to wake your children up and send them to school, and that's the bit you forget, isn't it? But you remember how to spell capoeira. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. She says she's very excited to be up to date with Duke Jaw, and when you mention capoeira are the memories. She almost hitched up her trousers and started swaying side to side and randomly kicking my leg out round in a big circle. That's it, the leg goes right round. It's right round. It must mean something. All those dances mean something, don't they? You know, but I agree. The thought of you in Beckenham doing that has actually delighted my morning, even though I was talking about the horror of losing 2 fish. It's broken me up. It's woken me up and made me feel jolly. Claire goes on to say, I don't think that the capoeira had good agents, more like the capoeira community were willing to perform for free. Maybe that's it. Anytime you can just fling your leg around on your arse, you'll do it for just for a cup of tea. You're probably right there. I hadn't thought about that. When at the Millennium Dome we had hundreds of them, along with shit loads of Morris dancer troops. Those were the days. Morris dancing. Again, you're right. We had a lot of Morris dancers in shows. A lot. I mean, Morris dancing, when it comes on, Matt gives out a big tut and a big sigh. He has a real issue with Morris dancers. But I think when you're in a village and there's not much else going on, maybe that is the crack. Now, come back to me, anybody that is a Morris dancer, because that would be gorgeous. Claire from Beckenham also says, also have to say, the Commodore's writing is becoming more and more hilarious. Feed the pony. He would never say these words out loud, but I think we all now know what he's been thinking for all these years. That's my point about the Commodore. Yes, he's a dark horse indeed, literally, or a dark pony, isn't he? Yes, he's saucy, but he's saucier on paper, it seems. I forgot to tell you that niece Lucy started a job a couple of weeks ago at the sourdough bakery in Bethnal Green called Brid. Scottish owners, I know you don't need help with the accent, so I'm going to call it again, Brid. So she knows that Duolingo is in full force there. Enjoy your weekend, lots of love. Claire from Beckenham. Yes, so that's good. Thank you for that, Claire. Again, the capoeira brings back lots of memories. Beth, what I did notice is you didn't bring tea with those photographs.
Oh, I can't carry tea, Andrew.
Can't you?
They printed on 2 pages.
Oh, did it? Okay, so...
You've got the glass inside.
Oh, this is what happens to me. This is what happens to me. So, yeah, you get a bit of it. Right, okay, look. So, here we go. So, the other day, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about Bianca. No, she's not Australian Jew. Bianca from Canada. Oh,
From
Becky's
Canada.
Going,
From Canada.
oh, Becky's going into the freezer, sorry. So, Bianca. Although it's spelled Bianca in the Canadians, you call it Bianca. I was saying about her breakfast, you know, like she milks her own goat and then she churns it and makes it into cream and custard and, you know, all that stuff in the morning. She has all that trendy stuff in the morning, pomegranate. She's, you know, chia seeds everywhere and all that sort of stuff. And she wrote to me and she said she nearly spat her breakfast out because she couldn't believe it, because exactly what she was having. Look how filthy, dirty, healthy that looks. This one might be better.
What is it?
It's just, and she's even got, this has got, she's got her own name, like a jar. She even drinks out of jars. She's so trendy, that sort of thing. Look at that. It's stuff that we wouldn't even tolerate, Bethany. It's healthiness. That's how I kind of granola-y, yogurty, sort of pomegranate. Your face is a classic. We can't show your face, but that is a classic, isn't it? Eh? So I'm going to fold that over for data protection.
Remember that your
This
email.
This is my data. There we go. Look at that. See, a fried egg with some beans and mushrooms.
Who would like that?
Canadians, they all eat that every morning. It's a law. You have to. So if you go to Canada, if you move over there, part of your visa is that you promise to eat granola and all that sort of stuff. So we won't be emigrating back all the way to there, as much as we loved it over there.
I prefer eating ready bread.
Now, what I don't know whether I said to you the other day was when...
Right, I'm going to finish doing my hair.
Enjoy.
And
When
dance.
the Commodore...
Bye, guys.
Bye, Beth. When the Commodore was talking about the New Forest and feeding the pony, you always must keep your thumb in, mustn't you, when you feed the pony, in case it nibbles it. It's one thing I remember. I can't remember if I told you, so apologies if I said this story before, but in the email, the Commodore asked whether I like horses or not. Now, I really like horses, but I got bitten by one, by my friend Deb. But no, not my friend Deb, her horse. Deb didn't bite me, her horse did. And we were leading it out, and it had a cold. And I was at school, so I was about 13, 14. And I didn't have breasts until I got HRT in my life, right? So until that, I'd been completely flat-chested, really. Also, I was absolutely tiny, whiny, and didn't eat as many cakes. So that also helped the knockers. But we were leading her horse out, and the horse had enough. And I turned my face, fortunately, and it bit my chest. It bit me, and it chipped my chest bone. And the X-ray came back, and you could see the chipped chest bone. But after the few days, the bruise started to come out, and it were these massive teeth marks, like a whole teeth mark, bottom set, lower, upper set, and lower set, on my chest bone. A bruise. I had it for weeks. Oh God! So horses know. You know when horses just know. They put their ears back, don't they? They know if you're not sure. I pretend that all the time I'm really cool with horses, and it turns out that they just know that I'm making it up. They just know. This isn't going so well, is it? I just want to show you the bits I've done because quite pleasing. This is coming on all right. It's balloon. We're doing really well up the top corner, up that corner. This is sort of, well, bits are coming on of that bath. I'm doing down here, but I'm aware that I've got all these pieces, haven't I? So that's what I'm doing. I'm laying them out neatly for you as well, so nobody freaks out of the order. You know, go, oh, you haven't lined the bits in the box up very well, have you? That's a mess as well. Shut up. Shut up. Right, I'm going to read this next email. This is from Dom, who is relatively new. I mentioned her wearing Carhartt. She absolutely says she doesn't have any Carhartt outfits, but we're going to have to speak to Anthony about that, who knows her much better than me, and he always claims she does. So that's a slur that he's spreading around if that isn't the case. Liz has got her Merrill utility shoes. Dom's got her Carhartt, but has she? Anyway, here we go. Dear Jigjaw Jew, I like that because I love alliteration. I think alliteration should be in every day. For Australians who don't know what the word alliteration is, you're going to have to Google it, I'm afraid. I'm not explaining that. Firstly, she says, I would like to congratulate you on how far you've come with the puzzle. It's looking great. Right, finally, someone, see, I get trolled a lot about this, but it turns out Dom in New Forest, sometimes in Devon, has actually understood that I'm actually all over it, whatever everybody else says. So thank you for that. Also to note, what an excellent transition you made in episode 37 from talking about the Commodore in the New Forest, leading across to me living in the New Forest. Very smooth, like that, like butter on bread. Well, butter out the fridge. I sometimes have a nightmare with butter out the fridge, but coincidentally, like the Commodore, I too like to feed the ponies in the New Forest. It seems we have something in common. Yes, you do. You and the Commodore do like that. You should probably meet up down there one day. I think the Commodore would very much enjoy watching you doing that too. I have a couple of queries for you, ... 1. Do you puzzle for fitness or for fun? As someone who very much enjoys exercise but really hates doing an ab workout, I've been pondering over whether a 5,000 piece puzzle might be the answer. Have you found that constantly leaning over and reaching for jigsaw pieces whilst puzzling has been working your core? Since starting Jigjaw, have you noticed you now have a six-pack, and would you suggest it as an alternative form of ab exercise compared to sit-ups or crunches? I imagine it's a real calorie burner, but it's hard to tell from the camera, but I guess you're now ripped. Well, I am totally ripped, and yeah, but do you know what I did notice the other day? Sorry, I'm gonna throw that there because I know it goes there. Is that I am doing a lot of leaning over. Now, if only it would help my abs. It hurts my back. It actually hurts my back. So what I'm going to start doing is, as I lean over, I think I'm going to start holding my stomach in, right? I'm going to start holding it in to try and do that, because I can make my 6-pack an 8-pack, can't I, under your guidance? I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea, and I might try and sell this as an exercise workout there. What do you think? Because I'm not very good at self-promotion. I just hope that other people pass things on. As you can tell, I'm not very good at no, I'm not very good at that. But I could format it as yeah, yeah. But all I'm actually discovering is I now, apart from the arm brace, the leg brace where I've been running and that hurts, the finger one I've got here as well, ready to go, because that sometimes helps. Not so sure about that. What I could now do is a back brace. So actually, and I can't really sue myself, because it's me and only me that has decided to do this. So I can't sue anybody for sort of, you know, injury claims. I can't go to Claims R Us or anything. But that's a very good question. Yeah, and let's pretend that under this top I'm totally ripped. It's been controversial today, not just because I'm not wearing a bra because I couldn't be bothered and it was too hot to, but also because I'm wearing a cap sleeve. I just happened to find it and I washed it, and I'm not a fan of cap sleeves. I don't know why. It's just an irrational judgment on cap sleeves, a bit like Bethany's irrational loathing of Fiona Bruce on Antiques Roadshow. She did say the other day she likes Fiona Bruce on the news, but the Antiques Roadshow really winds her up. I have got no idea why, but it makes us laugh every Sunday when she hears and Bethany just goes, oh my God, loses her mind. Okay, so here we go. This is the next question from Dom of Carhartt, or is she Carhartt? Who knows? To buy or not to buy? I'm already scared of abuse coming my way. Right, good, let's read this. When in London, I'm fortunate that I live on the Thames Path, and it is possible for me to walk into Central, but it takes an hour and 10 minutes. Good God. This is brilliant for my step count, but sometimes I may need to go in a little quicker. With our current COVID situation, I would like to avoid public transport at peak times if possible. I don't have storage for a bike, so this brings me to thinking, why not buy a scooter? Okay, here we go. From an earlier episode of Jigjaw, I got the impression you feel that adults on push scooters come across as absolute knobbers. I haven't heard that word for years. Absolute knobbers, that's such a great word. I very much wish not to be perceived as a knobber in yours or anyone else's eyes. I may already be too late with you, but I would also like to get into Central with speed without getting COVID and with a low environmental footprint. Running could be an option, but I don't want to have to wear lycra every time I go out, nor would there always be shower facilities to utilise. I'd be very interested in hearing your thoughts. Thank you for keeping the nation entertained. When you say nation. And keep up with great work. Dom, who does not own any Carhartt items. She says that. Now, what I was referring to was not a scooter as in a Pedro from Farnham scooter, because they're practical, aren't they? Although my husband Matt had one, he bought one, and then he twisted the wrong, as we took it out of the car, as he bought it out of the showroom, he twisted, I think I might have said this in another episode, he twisted as he turned rather than just turned, and he shot across and nearly died. It's not those. I mean, I just laugh at Matt on those because he was useless on it. Even though other motorbikes used to wave at him, you know, even the big trikes used to wave at him, like, beep, beep, wave at him, and he nearly lost his life many times on it. The issue I have is those like micro scooters. Is that what you're talking about? You're thinking of getting a micro scooter? That is no, you can't do it basically, because we'd have to lose you from our friendship group. Micro scooters, well, particularly on those. My biggest issue was on the middle-aged men who also do inline skates, right? Inline skates. that sort of thing, and then cruising around, because what people on those little mini scooters look like is they're so pleased with themselves, but they pretend they're not. So they're sort of weaving in and out, aren't they? And it was more the ones, before the electric ones, it was more the ones you had to use your foot. But they're so pleased with themselves, but they try and not look superior on them, but they're just smirking the whole way. I saw one the other day and they're like, yeah, check me out. Check me out, I'm going faster than you. And I suppose, I mean, I'd really have to discuss with the group whether you could remain a part of our group if you got one. So it's up to you. You can get one, obviously, it's free country. But we'll have a little Zoom meeting about it just to check out the situation with others, because I know it's not just me. But no, it was more middle-aged men being on them, really. And it's always the boys I know who've got them who wear jeans with a jacket to try and look down with the kids, but not entirely. Do you know what I mean? There's a whole look, isn't there? And anybody who does like that look, please be in touch and justify your position. Yeah, it was also those people who said bio break, and Claire from Beckenham knows exactly what I mean. Now I've just found this bit that I really, this thing keeps coming up. But where is it now? Excuse me, I'm going over there. Yes, I am. I'm going over here, but it goes somewhere over here. Not near the tea caddy. I'll tell you what, it's still incredibly difficult, this jigsaw. This jigsaw, Christ, is tricky. But I'm very glad people are still listening. And I did have to do it. It's not because I haven't wanted to do it, I just literally ran out of time. But I will absolutely get back on it, because I know that Libby said in her last email that she keeps checking her phone, so she must be in a right old tiz. I'm so sorry, Libster. I will get much better and more organised. I'll try and get up earlier and stuff. Yeah, because I can't let the nation down. Well, nation. That's just really making me laugh. Please go in there. Please go in there. No. Ah, yes. Beautiful. So look, can you see? We've got. Here we go. Now these as well are pillars. There are some pillars that go up here. No. We went through the woods the other day, and the dogs nearly broke my arm because they saw squirrels, and they're on those. I can't do it with that arm. They're on those extending leads, and it shot out so fast that I nearly ended up with a thing on that arm, which is ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, look, I'm going to keep putting these pieces in here, so the next time you come back up, when you come back on, it'll be much cleaner, and you won't get all so giddy. But I'm sorry that I've been away, but I'm back now. For those people who are just listening, and there has been no break, then you'll just say, shut up, going on about it. And I will. I've finished. I've done. I look forward to your emails. Rory, very excited to be there. I'm glad that, Dom, you're now enjoying this, because in your other email you said, you replied to me saying, I was just depressed the jigsaw was a highlight, which was indicative of how you were. How low life had felt for you, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it a little bit more and getting involved. Right, I'm going to take this piece of jigsaw and I'm going to wave to you all goodbye. Look after yourselves.